Yes, people. We are back in the building. Another big free episode tonight. We weren't actually gonna do one after All-Star weekend because we thought there wasn't a lot of news, so we had to come up with something quickly. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. The NBA is back tonight as well. A lot of big games as well. I got my guys as always in the building. Man like CM, man like Chino. What you man saying?
Blessed to be back, man. Coming off a good result on football. Shout out United, but hey, NBA back today, and I'm excited. We're in the final stretches of the season now. Playoffs approaching. The teams making their final changes here and there. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what the rest of the season brings. I'm looking forward to it, man. Big up Chino, Road, and everyone in the chat.
Big up, bro. Season start today, innit? Like today is when the pre All Star break. You know this too, Roland, because last year before All Star, you man had the record was low key dead.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. For sure. Wait, is Chino gone?
Ooh.
I think he's doing daddy duties. He's doing daddy duties. But
I'm here.
you there,
Yeah. So yeah, after the All Star break, is when things come down to the crunch. Like coaches, like CM saying, coaches start doing their 8-man, 9-man rotation, no more than that. Start getting the playoff rotation in the works. A lot of superstar play a lot of minutes in the first half, try to win the game in the first half, less minutes in the second half. So that's how this part of the season gonna go. A lot of the teams, with the playing thing going on, whoever is in the sixth, fifth seed and their record is not too far from the 7, 8, 9 seed, they're gonna be, trying to keep winning again. But yeah, this is a crunch time, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
yeah.
that All Star game was dead, bro.
We're gonna get into it, but yes, people. Before we do anything, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. If you're new, hit that notification bell and all that good stuff there. Also, in the title of the video, there's a link to CM's channel. There's a link to Tino's channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on those. When you don't have to leave the video, you can just click into them. It will take you into their pages. You can click onto the subscribe button, and you'll still be watching with us. But yeah, we're gonna start off with the All-Star weekend as a whole, and then we'll get into the All-Star game. So All-Star weekend, there's been a lot of chatter around whether it needs to be revamped. I mean, obviously, I like the celebrity game. I think it brings a little bit of different flavor. But then when we get into night two, for several years, we've had a lot of different, a lot of the kind of similar type of thing. We've had the skills challenge, the 3-point contest, and then obviously the dunk contest to finish it off. So obviously, skills challenge this year, the Team Jazz win the skills challenge. Then obviously in the 3-point contest, man like Dame Lillard winning the title there, and then obviously Matt McClung, kind of shocking everybody a little bit. I would say, I don't know what people's opinions on that are, but he shocks everybody and wins the dunk contest. And then obviously the All-Star game on a separate piece where it wasn't really the best one to watch in quite some time, to be honest with you. And there's a lot of opinions surrounding that, whether it's competitive enough and whatnot, and are the players even motivated to do it anymore? But look, I just want to get you guys' thoughts on All-Star weekend as a whole. Like, should it be revamped in any type of way, and what kind of ideas would you want to kind of like bring into it? And then the All-Star game, why has it lost its competitiveness? Like, what I'm saying? I want to know your opinions on that.
Well, you know what? The All-Star weekend, there were some good parts. Like you said, the celebrity game, I think the dunk contest and the performance from Matt McClung. There were some not so great performances there, I think, or lackluster, I should say. But Matt McClung's performance was good. And, if you saw like a lot of his tapes when he was in high school and stuff like that, you would have known that he's a high flyer. But, him being in the G League, it just needs to kind of even out the rest of his game in order to really try and establish himself in the league. So that's good for him. You get a lot of recognition and kind of popularity of that, and GMs looking at you around the league as well, seeing if they want to kind of dip into that. And he's at Philadelphia right now, so let's see what they can do with him going in between the G League and the main roster. But in terms of the All-Star game, I always feel like, it's a spectacle. people go there, and I don't remember who said it, but in the end of the day, people want to see the greatest game of pickup basketball. That's what they said. I don't remember who said it.
I
It
think
may have been,
it might have been Kobe Bryant. I think I saw a video on
yeah.
it. Maybe.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
maybe.
was that. But it was
Kobe.
that people want to see the greatest pickup
Yeah.
game available, because these are the best players in the league thus far, according to fan vote and some other people as well. So that's the most disappointing part, because even when like people were going back to the 2020 All-Star game, which is when they first made the changes in terms of the scores and stuff like that, I believe before they broke it up for the pandemic. And they were saying, you know, they were looking at the competitiveness of that fourth quarter down the stretch. But even then, in the game, like before that, it wasn't that competitive. It was the same thing where players aren't really defending each other, a lot of smiling, dunking, 3 points from half court. And that's the problem you find yourself in, I feel like, because a lot of people bring the discussion from previous years, so previous generation of basketball players and now. And I've heard many people, some people say, you know, look at the money they're earning, they don't have a reason to. I kind of try and look at it in a way where players are more aware of their fitness and what that means for them going down the stretch of the season, where I feel like players, maybe they played with a bit more heart in the All-Star game. Maybe there was a meaning to why they exerted so much effort out, because it was out of respect. Being an All-Star, it is a great honor. So you want to prove to everybody in that arena, plus the people watching, why you are an All-Star, why you was picked by the peers and everybody else to be an All-Star for that season. And I feel like back in the days, maybe that was enough for those players to get riled up, to be competitive, to want to win, to want to compete amongst some of the best in the league and what it has to offer, because you want to prove a point. You always wanted to prove a point. Whereas today, I feel like the NBA, it's more of a brotherhood, tight knitted. It's always been a brotherhood, but I feel like everybody's close to each other. Of course, you may have some people who don't like each other, or there's some rivalries here and there, but for the most part, everybody's cool with each other. And also, when you look at the injuries that have happened in these past few seasons, the development of technology, players becoming more aware of their bodies and how to manage themselves in an 82-game season plus the playoffs, I just feel like the All-Star game has become a thing of a past when it comes to being competitive and players wanting to exert full energy into it. Right now, it's jogging at best speed, sometimes even walking speed. And people said that the most competitive moment of the game was Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's one-on-one. What does that say? What does that say about the All-Star game, you know?
Yeah.
Nah,
Gino,
man,
Gino,
listen.
Gino, what's your thoughts, man, on
I
like
don't have much to say, bro. CM covered it all. What I do have to say is right, which CM did touch on briefly. You yes, as fans we want competitive, like Kobe said. Like Kobe was here, like still playing. Like this would not be happening. Let's be honest, because he doesn't, bro. D Wade broke Kobe nose in the All Star game, bro. Like, listen, what I'm saying. These are two superstars. D Wade broke Kobe Bryant nose in the All Star game, bro. That's to show you the level. But what I will say is, right, if you look at it, like from when it not became too competitive, back then, a lot of the guys on max contract, like the Kobe's and a lot of these guys, their max contract was like, especially like the Jordan era. And if you go back, those max contract was like 20 million, 25. Bro, Damian Lillard is on $50 million. LeBron James is on 50. Like, these Giannis is on 40. So, like, this is, you know what I'm saying? This is a lot of money. And I'm not talking about 50 million for 3, 4 seasons. This is one
one
season, bro.
season, yeah.
So that's a lot of money. That these guys, that the team put into these guys. So you can get it to some extent. It's like somebody's gonna feel disrespected, like CM is saying, the fans or. So it's either gonna be the fans or the ownership, because ownership say, I pay you all this money. You go out there in the All Star, knowing we're fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
You go out there being a try hard, broke your hand on the rim, you're out for the rest of the season. We're in the third, 12 seed. No, I said 12. We're the third, second seed. Probably our best shot at winning the NBA. You know what I'm saying? what you are on 50 like you know what I'm saying this can
Yeah.
cost a lot of but listen with all that being said I think there's an NBA lockout coming soon.
Mm,
I
okay.
think there's a lockout coming soon, man.
Okay. I mean, look, so there's a few things here. Like, so for me, on one side, I understand that you know the players are now wising up to the whole kind of thing. It's like we're in control. We are the players. We're the ones that own the league. You know what I'm saying? Like because if
Hmm.
we don't play,
Mhm.
then nothing goes on, right? And so they're obviously gonna go into it and be very relaxed about the situation. I mean, when I watched the game, we watched the game together, right? A lot of the players didn't really look like they wanted to be there. There's a lot of players right now, or well, they were on holiday. They went on a little short break so they can relax and recover. We've got just over 20 games left to the end of the season. Some of them are going to be a little bit freshened up, ready to for their playoff pushes. Um, and there's players out there who are part of those playoff pushes, and they've had to play this extra game, and they didn't want to go too hard. Whilst I understand, Kobe made that when he made that comment in that interview some years ago, where it isn't a spectacle for the fans, and so you want it to be one of those kind of spectacles because you know with the makeup of the NBA, how many times are you going to see a group of the best players play together in a team? You're not going to see it many times.
Hmm.
You've got a lot of fans, that they really
Olympic game.
save up money for these tickets, and this is the one chance every year
Mhm.
that you get an opportunity to see that. Now, I'll put that to the side. On the other side, right, there's something very interesting here, right? So you see how the all-star teams are made up, right? Is it because we see sometimes there are players in there that you look and you be like, are they really an all-star? So I'll ask this question as like a little side question, yeah. Should it be the best players in the league? When I say the best, like we all know who are the best players. Like if we were to list the top 24
Mm.
players in the league, I reckon all three of us, if we was to do that right now, would have very a lots of similarities in that, maybe a vary of one or two. In what we when the fans all over the that do the voting, right? Sometimes people that are that have good stat lines end up being the all-star team, and they're not necessarily the best players in the league, or part of the best players in the league. So what do you think about that? Is it so like you avoid a situation where I mean, no disrespect to him, but you got Jaren Jackson Jr., who's had a pretty good season based off of the stat line, but
Mm.
he's not in the top 20 24 players in the league, in my opinion. So like you avoid them kind of situations, and so then maybe you might see a switch in competitiveness, because when it's like the top players in the league and they all know amongst themselves that we are the top like 24 players in the league and we're on our separate teams, we might be able to go a little bit harder in those games.
I think if you think about it that way, then is the All-Star break a celebration of the best the league has to offer, or the best the league has to offer up until that point in the season? And I think I would still go towards the latter of that, where I think with the All Star break, it's a great honor, and it should be a great honor with the players. And I do understand that some people they'll kind of complain when certain players get All Star nods over some of their favorite players, or some of their players who are potentially better. But I think sometimes seeing those players and hearing about their stories is another positive thing about the weekend, because where you have your LeBrons that are 19 time whatever all stars, you also have some players that are one time all stars, maybe two-time all stars in their career, and those are moments that they savor in the end of the day. So I think it would be unfair to those players to kind of take it away and say, oh no, we're gonna get the best possible players. So instead of one guy, we'll bring James Harden back into there because he's been one of the greatest scorers in the
You know,
decade and stuff like that.
no. My bad. I thought I was muted. Go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, no, it's you, Chino.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I'm hearing you, CM. You know what?
Mm,
You know what you could do? You know what I just thought about? So these contracts, right? You know when you make the All Star game, there's a insensitive like bonus.
Mhm.
mm-hmm,
So and these owners need to start putting like if they want it to become competitive again, like Adam Silver, he got to sit down with the owners, right? So in the insensitive is to activate that bonus, your team have to win the All-Star game.
Mm,
Instead of just everybody that make it get the incentive. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just an
Mm.
idea. Like instead
yeah,
of you just get the money, your team actually have to win it.
yeah,
So and these bonus are big. So now you'll get people start trying to get that. Because listen, you put a $5 million all-star bonus. I got selected. My bonus, I'm cashed in. Like I'm good.
mm. But then
You know what I'm saying?
I saw something interesting. So after the game, or maybe before the game, they were interviewing Shea, and Shea was asked, how do you make it more competitive? He said we need more incentives. Then there was backlash because people were saying, but you're a multimillionaire, you get paid hundreds
Mm.
of millions of dollars a year. So what more incentive do you need to be, trying a little bit harder in these kind of games? So it's a very sticky, like murky waters. See, I'm going. I know you got some more to say on this.
Wait,
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said. Shay said because my phone wasn't having
So so
it.
yeah, so Shea was interviewed either before or after the game. I think after the game, and then he said that in order for us to make it more competitive, we need more incentives. And then there was backlash after that where they said, "Well, you get paid hundreds of $1 million a year, so why do you need more incentives? Like you should just go out there and play and try and play
Mm,
to your best." So it's like it's a bit murky. I don't know, like because I feel like some players really want to play and try hard. Because I'm sure LeBron does, but I feel like LeBron reads the room and he understands that the guys don't care like that anymore.
Mm.
So I don't need to go as hard anymore. And plus, I'm 38 years old. Like I don't really need to be overexerting myself in
Yeah.
this kind of game now. But see, you was gonna say something.
Remember Giannis as well at the start when he was first becoming an all-star. He was playing hard, but even this year, read the room situation.
Mm,
Why am I exerting all this energy when all these guys are playing at walking pace?
mm,
But nah, to Shay's point, you get why he's saying it, and other players and journalists around the association have said it as well. And I think for people to bring up the money excuse, I hear it, but it's a different generation, man. Different money, different mindsets, like we said, different level of incentives to play basketball nowadays.
mm,
You and I think it was, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Charles Barkley, but it was something else where he was describing, the greatest player. One generation was Jordan, another generation was LeBron, and etc. But he said you can't compare different generations of basketball because even though it's the same game, they're completely different in terms of context and how things were back then. And I think today you just have to look at the game as what it is today. And the All-Star game, to be honest, it needs boosting. The reason why they changed it is because they wanted to potentially add something different to shake it up. But now again, that seemed to wear out after a couple years. So now Adam Silver and his team are gonna have to kind of take this year and think about what they're gonna do going forward in the All-Star break. People have spoken about the mid-season tournament, potentially adding incentives in there that allow teams to want to play in there, players that are playing there to earn, advantages come playoff time or come the second half of the season. Maybe you change the rules or add incentives into the All-Star break that allow teams to have certain advantages if you win or something like that going into the second half of the season once again. But I just think it at this point, it maybe allows the excuse just to say you're on multi-millions because let's face it, the more time goes on, the richer the players will get. I guarantee in 10 years time, we'll be seeing the contracts take a boost out. And when they're, the Players Association and the league start renegotiating their contracts with even the TV rights and stuff like that, the money's just going to get higher and higher as the popularity rises with more international players coming into the league. Victor Wembanyama could be a trailblazer almost of that new generation of superstar international players. It's happening in every single sport. So when it comes to money, even if you understand the argument, you kind of have to go away from it now because if you stay using that argument, it's only going to get worse without finding the true solution.
yeah, yeah, I agree, man. Like, I mean, if we leave that to the side, I feel like the one of the most interesting parts of the All-Star weekend was Mac McClung and his kind of rise. Like, obviously winning it, and then obviously in the same week he's signed his two-way deal. He wins the dunk contest. He gets a
Interested
studio.
to who, brother? Not to me. Not to me, brother. Not to me and Dr. Umar, brother. Interested to who?
He's got a studio with Puma as well. Followers have run up to about 1 million now after like being on about 97k or something. I don't know.
What?
Like, yeah, like he was on like 97k because obviously he was in House of Hoops dunking, so like people knew of him on that level. But obviously he's trying to make his way into the league and get a career going. And then he's up to about 1 million followers on Instagram or something crazy like that after that performance. It's like, yeah, it's a bit mad. I mean, his competition wasn't great anyway in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? You know, with Jericho,
like that Knicks guy, I told you the Knicks
Jericho
man,
Sims,
them is dead, bro.
hey, Jericho Sims was,
bro. Nobody got up when he did that honey dip dunk, bro.
Bro, it's a madness. It's a madness. But yeah, we're gonna move on from All-Star Weekend. Let me get to these comments though. Big up Mossy says just talk or some Pacers, Celtics, Raptors, Pelicans, Sixers, Grizz. There's some big games tonight, but we're only talking about the NBA. If you're gonna watch, you're gonna watch. You know what I mean? But there's even Lakers and Golden State as well tonight. To be fair, so there's a lot of big games tonight for sure. Big up Paxton. He says just dropping in to say Eric Ten Hag working miracles on all of us. What performance! Anyways, enjoy the NBA talk. Thank you for dropping through, my bro. Big up NN. He says Eric Ten Hag, how you look, they're hating. They got Potter over there at the Stamford Bridge, yeah, and you don't even know if he's staying to the end of the season. He's staying to the end of the season. Don't worry about it. And you're gonna be out the Champions League next week, which is gonna be hilarious as well because the UCL show is coming back as well, and I'm bringing Darren back into the building. We need to talk.
Praise for Darren, fam.
Chelsea therapy, fam. This is what I told him. Chelsea therapy coming soon, fam. I need to hear what he needs to say, fam. Big up Manj as well. He's saying big up Roland, CM and Chino every time. Big up Pros Only Sports, and then big up the Miz. Yeah, the Miz did that half court celebrity game. Yeah, it was a bit of a madness. I saw that All-Star game is a practice session with the fans. Big up Super Nick in here. Glory, Man United. Oh, sorry, wrong stream. Come on. Wait till Sunday. I'm ready.
This guy about to judge us, you know.
No, don't do that. No. Don't do that. Don't do it.
No talk and judge, fam. Until after Sunday, fam.
Man. Getting picked for All-Star is like getting picked for England in football. The lesser players got to make the lineup. Yeah, you could say. And said, we're a Europa playoff league trophy for United. Relax. You're gonna be at home. You're sitting in 10th right now. I know it's burning you right now. We got 10 hard. You got Potter.
Where's he sitting?
10th, bro.
Like Eric
10 hard.
Chelsea Hog.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, but look, there's been 3 big moves that we've seen over the last week in the NBA. So we'll start off with the first one. I feel like, Chino might say it's not the biggest one, but I think it's the biggest one. Russ to the Clippers. He buys out the contract in Utah after the trade, and he moves over, changes locker rooms, and goes to the Clippers. Now, CM, I'm going to start with you because this is this is a guy that you've been following since the beginning, right, of your basketball watching career. Him moving to the Clippers, what does that do for him? And what does that do for the Clippers as they push off to the playoffs?
I think first and foremost, it's a good move because he can stay in LA with his family. He doesn't need to move too far, and staying in the staples. In the end of the day, just changing some of the badges and stuff like that. I think for Russell Westbrook, it's a big second half of the season for him because, I don't like to say this a lot of the time, but I feel like, especially with the way politics works in the NBA, if it doesn't work out for him here in the Clippers uniform, it could be a bleak future for Russell Westbrook in the league, and that hurts to say. But, when you call it spade a spade, he has had a rough few years moving around on teams since leaving OKC, Washington, Houston, LA, both teams now. So hopefully he can hit the ground running with this team. When you look at the Clippers, they have a better collection of shooters on the roster, which can help him possibly open up the game for Westbrook to get to the rim, which is something that he struggled with in LA, finishing at the rim, which is uncharacteristic of his game, really. But for a guy like him, you need to have shooters that open up the game. And unfortunately, playing with LeBron, AD, and then the collection of players that, made up the rest of the roster, it just wasn't good for any of them in the end of the day. Even AD struggling, LeBron, etc. But, you look at this Clippers side, they've struggled to find a bit of continuity this season with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, injuries, a few other guys as well. They brought in John Wall, didn't really work out. Now at the trade deadline, they're bringing in the likes of Bones Hyland, Eric Gordon, a couple guys that can play some roles off the bench. And they still have a pretty deep lineup when you look at them. Reggie Jackson left as well, who was kind of struggling this season, but in past years was a good contributor. So I think for Russell Westbrook, he can go into this team and it's good because you look at the collection, even the stars, they have good 3-point shooters. So maybe that opens it up for a bit of him, can allow him to play make, drive down the lane, kick it out to open shooters or finish. So I think this is his best chance, and he had a much better chance to thrive in this team than with the Lakers. And, I wish the best for him because in the end of the day, at his best, and obviously he is getting up there in age now, at his best, he's ferocious driving to the rim, can finish with the best of them. But in the last few years, it has been a mixed bag. And we know what can happen when it comes to aging players who are not really great shooters of the basketball from the free throw line, from the mid-range area as well. They can kind of get pushed to the side a bit.
Yeah. Gino, what's your thoughts on Russ's move to the Clippers?
He stinks. Nah. What I was gonna say, it's a good move, but I don't know. CM is saying that the Clippers haven't been. Brother, have you been watching them? They're third. They've been cooking. It's been slow. It's not flashy and like all over the place, all over ESPN, but they've been cooking. They have been cooking. But like you right to some extent, it haven't been like the old Clippers because of Kawhi injury, but I feel like they've been like looking really good. Kawhi and Paul George together. I think they're figuring it out how to play with each other. But yeah, bringing Russ in that, like CM said, the Clippers are better shooters than the Lakers. I think. Bones Island. That's a good young guy that can shoot. I think that what's the name traded him because one, they probably didn't want to stunt his development, and two, they probably couldn't pay him in the future.
That's the thing.
So
Like, if he makes a jump next year, you're gonna have to pay him now, and it's like they won't be able to do it. I don't think over in Denver.
So did the Clippers lose Luke Kennard? That's who they gave up for him.
Yeah, Luke Kennard left.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, yeah. But yeah, they still got Batum. So Russ probably run with man like Batum.
Norman Powell.
I don't know if they might start him, but I mean, I don't know if excuse me, if they start him or not. But I think definitely Ty Lue will stagger his minutes, and so him and like PG and Kawhi is not like always on the court together. So you can let Russ be Russ. Like the Lakers said that, like, people throwing the quotes around because the Lakers had said the same thing. But let's be honest, they really didn't let Russ be Russ. There was still these clouds over his head and all these, you know what I'm saying? But if you just let him hoop, support him, I think you'll get the best out of him. But yeah, it's a good, like this guy said, he don't have to go anywhere. His family settled in LA, you know what I'm saying? Even if it doesn't work out in the summer now, we get more time to move to a new location if you have to. But kids in school and all that right now. So yeah, man, it's a good move for him, man. The Lakers are toxic, and AD is made out of plastic. Oh, that was a bar.
But you see with Russ, like Ty Lue's got to set up schemes, yeah, where Russ is setting screens. Russ don't set screens like that. You know what I'm saying? For the wing players, because I'm like, bro, if you can get him to start setting screens, yeah, then they're gonna be fine. He'll be able to fit within that. But when he's not doing that now, I'm not sure what else he can do to maximize the most out of Russ in the time he's gonna be there. And then if Russ starts, he has to be surrounded by shooters, otherwise it doesn't work. And then at the same time, is he gonna be the primary ball handler if he's paired with a Paul George and a Kawhi Leonard? Then it's like it's a tough job for Ty Lue to try and fit it all together, in my opinion. But I don't know what you guys. Yeah.
I agree. I do agree, and like you said, bro, it all depends on how you can get Russell Westbrook to buy in for these final how many games you have left of the season, 20+ games. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I think a committed Russell Westbrook is much better than what we will see in LA, because Paul George, he wanted him to come to the Clippers. Kawhi wanted him to come. When those stars have confidence in you, when you look at kind of the end of LA, LeBron kind of talking about how difficult, disappointing it was to not bring in Kyrie Irving when you know you're gonna be a part of that trade. The morale's going down, and you don't have the confidence that you once did have, and the people that you want to get confidence from, they're not giving it to you. So it's gonna be a good environment to walk into.
LeBron's a pagan for that.
Yeah,
CM, I know you said that Kawhi wants. Of course, Kawhi wants Russ, bro. Kawhi won a championship with a fat, stinking point guard that can't play basketball.
Respect Kyle Lowry, fam.
You know what's
Kyle
so
Lowry
funny,
was that guy.
You know what's so funny, yeah? The reason why he's only saying this, yeah, because of the rant that happened a few weeks ago at the deadline. That's the only reason why you did it. This is why you're talking about this guy, bro, because you couldn't get Kyrie, bro. Kyrie left, you couldn't get him.
He's gone. No, he said I've had enough, fam. Nah, Chino, fam. You can't go out like this.
Chino, come back, yeah, because Chino, come back, because we're moving on.
No, I didn't leave. I was watching you talk. I couldn't hear you. No, listen, my phone was my phone. As soon as I said that about Kyrie, my phone, Kyle Lowry, my phone started doing it.
Okay.
And then I click on the stream on my iPad, and I heard you talking.
Okay.
But listen, no, bro, Kyle Lowry stinks, bro. Bro, we're getting Kyrie in the summer. We're getting Kyrie.
Whatever you say, bro. He's going to LA, bro. You saw the thing, bro. You know when they announced the All-Star teams and LeBron picked Kyrie, bro. You see Luka's face, bro. He knew, bro. If this season don't work out for Kyrie and him, bro, he's cutting, bro. I'm telling you, he's cutting.
They got the handshake ready and everything, bro. You know what I mean?
Trust me, bro. They're ready, bro. He knows. But Chino, we're gonna move on to your team and your guy, Kevin Love, over to Miami. Let me know what this move does for Miami for the rest of the season, man.
Make us title contenders.
That's a big talk, man. That's big talk from Chino, bro.
No. I'm kidding, man. You know I'm joking. What it does is it doesn't put. It takes one job off Bam when it comes to rebounding and setting. Two jobs when it comes to rebounding and setting screens. It takes those off Bam's shoulder, because Bam literally does everything. He has to play make. He has to score. He has to be our best defender. He has to set screens. He has to get people in the right spots. Too much. So that takes two jobs off him. What Kevin Love brings is going to open the floor. You're going to have to respect him more than you respect Caleb Martin. He's a bigger body. You know what I'm saying? He's not like a good defender. He's just a bigger size body, which make it, like he will get contests easier on bigger body than Caleb. Like they just shoot over him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm excited to see how it works, how it's all meshed in. At the end of the day, Miami just got to get to the playoffs. Jimmy Butler will do the rest. So, but yeah, I'm excited, man. And we got Cody Zeller too. I don't even know who
Mhm.
that is. I know he used to play for the Hornets. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so we got bigger. I mean, and you can see, and you can see that they see what's going on when it comes to the Bucks and the Celtics. Like they're big. You have to start matching size. Like you can't have Caleb Martin at the what I'm saying, the four spot. So going for Love and then not pursuing Russ and then going to get like another big to back up Bam. So you potentially got a starting four next to Bam
Mm,
who can also go into the backup role
mm,
as the five in Kevin Love
mm,
if you want to go that route when
mm.
Bam's off, or you could bring Zeller on. So you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm excited to see.
Okay. What do you think about that move, CM for Kevin Love?
Yeah, I agree with what Chino says. I think Kevin Love fits the timeline of this team and what they're trying to go for. In Cleveland, he was there and still a really good contributor for what his role was, with those young guys being a mentor and contributing in games here and there. And he's really developed his game since his time in Minnesota. When you think about him, he was a rebounding machine, a guy who did most of his work inside the paint and in the post area. And since we moved to Cleveland, played with LeBron, he's become more of a shooter now from beyond the arc, and that's where he does a lot of his work. Still a good rebounder. He may not be as mobile as he once was, but he can still be physical down there, like what Chino says, competing with rebounds, setting screens. He's the ultimate, selfless guy when it comes to this point of his career, and he'll add shooting to that Miami team that needs it. Another body in that front court because, like you said, you play Martin in the power forward position.
Yeah,
Teams ain't gonna take you seriously.
yeah.
That's mismatch settings every single night in, night out. So now you have Kevin Love in there who's a bit more competitive and sizable to play in that position and more support for Bam Adebayo. And Chino a few episodes ago said something really interesting, which is since Bam was drafted in Miami, he has never really had a consistent forward partner to run with, whether that be in a starting lineup or when the rotation really adjusts throughout the game. And maybe this is a bit of consistency that him and Bam can strike up a connection over the course of this season, maybe throughout the playoffs and they can try and make a run for it. But I think it's a solid move for Miami.
Yeah, I feel like
Still,
the
still won't be. Sorry, Roland, but it still won't be consistent, bro, because it's about to change again in the off season. Because probably
Mm,
Love probably won't be. So that's what I'm saying. It's every season. It's a new guy coming in next to Bam. Like Miami need to find someone to cement next to him.
yeah, that's the thing. It's it because I was literally gonna say I was like, you look at Kevin Love because I thought he was a lot older than what he is. He's 34. I thought he was 36. So
mm,
like he's not gonna be a long term partner for Bam in that forward position. So yeah, they're gonna have to see. They're gonna have to look at him and see how he works with him, and then see if they can get somebody of a similar profile to come in next season, so that they can actually strike up a proper partnership that could be a bit long term for Bam, as well. In terms of what Kevin Love has to offer in terms of the shooting aspect, like I saw a very horrible performance from Tyler Hero in, and if it's not his last game or second to last game, for Miami, where he was shooting very poorly
mm.
from free. Like, so it's going to be interesting to see how when he comes into that starting lineup, where the responsibility in regards to shooting is going to come from, especially if the two of them are on the court together. Um, but yeah, I'm interested to see how this boosts Miami for the rest of the season now, because obviously Jimmy's been doing what he's been doing, coasting through the games, and now it's about trying to warm yourself up to try and get the best position you can in the playoff picture, and then move into the playoffs, which should be very, very interesting for Miami there. Now, the third move that was very interesting that we seen was Pat Bev getting the buyout from the Magic and going back home to Chicago. And some of his comments were pretty hilarious as well. He said the East is kind of weak, and I'm here to help Chicago get into the playoffs. So they're just hovering outside of the play-in at this moment in time, I believe. I think so. Let me just double check the standings. Where's Chicago? Yeah, they're just outside of the play-in right now. 26 and 33 for the season, 0.441. So they're a few games back to see if they can get themselves back into that play-in picture anyway. But this is interesting, an interesting move for Pat Bev. And for the Bulls. Obviously, we're going to talk about one of their players after this, but what does he do in terms of bringing something to that squad? It was kind of interesting how he just was moved on very quickly at the end of that trade deadline by the Lakers. So what does this do for Pat Bev in terms of him and his career, like now getting towards the end of it, and then obviously for the Chicago Bulls the rest of this season as they try and push for the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Chicago haven't been their best by any means this season. They're in desperate need of guards, to be honest, because we'll speak about Lonzo Ball in a second. Alex Caruso's been out. When he's been on the court, he's been a good contributor. Zach LaVine has kind of struggled here and there in this season, had some good games, had some bad games. But I think they're in desperate need of somebody who can change the mentality of their team. I feel like a lot of the guys, they have a mix of young talent and also older players. And I feel like they just need somebody to glue them all together again, like they were initially when all of the moves were made and they had that great start to the season. It feels so long ago now, not this season, but the one before. So, there's been rumors of Billy Donovan kind of having friction with Zach LaVine, and you don't want that with LaVine being the guy that you see taking the franchise forward. I remember early in the season, there was a game where he must have been benched down crunch time because he wasn't playing well, and he was kind of like, he does the thing that stars say, well, I've shown that I can do what it needs to be done. I have what it takes to play down the stretch. So, Patrick Beverley, we saw what he did for Minnesota in that one season. And we see what they're kind of lacking right now. Even though they've been playing a little better, Anthony Edwards playing well, stuff like that, Cat out injured, you can see what Patrick Beverley did to that team, how they changed the mentality, the competitive nature of that side, bringing them into the playoffs, and how valuable that experience might be going forward. And even what that did for how outsiders look at the future of that franchise going forward. And that can be very important. We saw it with Brooklyn before they got KD and Kyrie and all those guys. So for Chicago, I think they're not breaking it up. They're not sending guys away like I guess some people were asking for, trading away DeMar, Zach, Vucevic, all of these guys. But they're bringing in somebody who he was getting into it before the All-Star break, before the trades and all of that stuff there. He was starting to shoot from a better percentage. We know what he can do defensively at his best, at the top of his game. He's a disruptor, but also for the team that he's on, he's a guy that can glue everybody together and change their mindsets in an instant if he's given the time to do so. So I think it could be a good move for Chicago, but I'm still doubtful if they'll be able to do anything. Maybe make a run for the play-in, but beyond that, the future still is up in the air with Chicago.
Yeah, I agree. Chino, what do you think about Pat Bev's move to Chicago?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Don't care.
No. I'm not gonna say it.
No, bro. Yo,
I
don't care, bro. That is funny as hell, bro.
Bro, I don't know who he think. I think he genuinely think he's like Michael Jordan or something, bro. Man had a chance to go play with the Warriors and like.
It's true.
If healthy with Steph, for sure, gonna be in the playoff and probably challenge for a ring. Man said, "Oh no, I'm going, bro. He's a bum."
Like, he went back home though. I hear him though. He went back home. He's from Chicago, and he was born in Chicago, so I hear him going back to play for the Bulls. Yeah, where it was between, but then at the same time, I feel like he has a better chance of starting in that Bulls side than he would. He's not starting for the Warriors. He's coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be getting some garbage minutes, bro. Like, so
Yeah, I think you're right because they shut down Lonzo for the season, so
that's what I'm
there's no
saying.
Lonzo
This is
coming
what I'm
back.
saying. So like he's gonna have a starting position in at the Bulls, and yeah, like what CM is saying that basically Zach Levine's head's been turned. He wanted to leave. He did want to leave. He wanted to go to LA, and for whatever reason it didn't materialize. Obviously, I think it's more to do with the money than anything because I think he's on like 190 million or something. That was his contract or something crazy like that. So like the money was obviously an issue, I believe. So like his head was turned and maybe the focus was gone. He has to lock in now for the rest of the season and see if they can push for the play-in, like you said, CM, because they're a few games back to get that position, and then we'll see what they can do. Maybe he's gonna add something. I think defensively, like in terms of providing a bit more of a bit of solidity on that side. Pat Bev will provide that. From playmaking side, I don't know. That's not really his game like that. But he has some elements here and there. Um, it's a mentality thing, like you said. It's like, let me galvanize the group so that because everyone's head's gone, bro. Like literally, their head's gone because they've imploded this season. They were a team that last season we saw first part they were top of the East. Then they kind of dropped back, and then they got into the playoffs pretty, I don't want to say comfortably, I'd say, because they I think they finished maybe 5th seed or something like that. And then they played the Bucks, and then they got swept. So and they've imploded this season, despite the fact that they've had everybody pretty much fit and healthy, apart from Lonzo, and that's who we're going to speak about next. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, we'll move on to Lonzo. So obviously, the Chicago Bulls have shut him down for the rest of the season. This knee injury that he's been having, or I don't know if it's a knee injury or if it's nerve damage, because LeVar said it's nerve damage. That's what he confirmed, and then obviously the doctors are saying it's a knee injury. So according to Lonzo Ball's agent, they've seen doctors all across the country, and they say that his knee injury is unique and something they've never seen before. And there's now a lot of speculation saying that this could be something potentially career-ending for Lonzo Ball. This is what is being said. But obviously, we need to find out what's going to happen. Or he could potentially have his contract ripped up and terminated, depending on the outcome of what happens over the next few months. What's happened to Lonzo Ball? I know obviously the injury is a big part of it, but like he hasn't played in a while. And there were rumors that he was coming back onto the court, and now he stopped again. What's happened to him, man? And can he hopefully get back out of this, like, and get back onto the court?
I pray for him that he's able to recover. I think it was.
I was like, yo, hold on. I was like, did CM just cut me off like that? But my mic was muted. I was talking.
What's going on? What's good? Gino's delirious right now because Ten Hag is taking us through against Barca, and we got a final on Sunday, bro.
Hey, Chino, have your say, bro. Have your say, man.
Yeah, dog, because I'm going to let you spit the real fact. I just got to say, what do you mean what happened to him? The man got no knees. Like, what do you mean what happened to him? His knees are finished. Like, that's what happened. I mean, it's one of those things, bro. Like, it's unfortunate. It's sad. But it's one of those things like you just said about Ten Hag, right? We can all say, what happened to Anthony Martial? The guy can't stay fit. Like it's just one of those things with injuries. So, I mean,
but it wasn't anything like it was innocuous. It wasn't like it wasn't an impact injury, as far as I know.
I mean, to be honest with you, you're about to be asking the same question soon about Time Lord. When your meniscus. Okay, let me put my doctor cape on real quick.
Go on.
The meniscus. Do you know what the meniscus is? Like, do you know where it's located? Right.
Yes, it's like in the back of the knee. Yeah.
So it's like a cushion. It's a cushion. It's like two little cushion bar, right? Resting on the bottom of your fibia, on the top of your fibia, and your what's the name? Your thigh, right? Your thigh. So when that start getting wear down, and doctors going in there stitching it up or shaving it down, that's you're shaving down a cushion. So you're shaving down the cushion that should stop your bones from rubbing bone to bone.
Mm,
So the more Lonzo, how many times have the doctors went in there and shaved it down? You know what I'm saying? The more they keep doing that, that's what happened to D Wade. It's the less cushion. So now every time you run, jump, do anything on it, when you're done, it feels like fire inside of your knees because your bones are rubbing bone to bone. So I think it's one of those where it's gonna be sad and unfortunate, but if he recover, it's gonna be miraculous. Like how we say with Time Lord, like if he have longevity, Time Lord, it's gonna be crazy to me. I don't think he will have longevity in this game. But yeah, I don't know what CM gonna say about it. But yeah, I think Lonzo might be done, man. He might
mm.
just need to go run the big baller brand thing, you know what I'm saying? Just make some shoes and all that the proper way.
Jeez. It's a harsh assessment, bro. I can't lie.
Man, yeah.
What you gonna say?
I think Chicago did the best thing by shutting him down because it's unfair to the fans to kind of keep him, because since the start of the season they've been kind of saying, "Oh, Alonso's gonna, be back, a few games into the season," and they've just continuously pushed that date back to the point where now we don't know what's going on. Like you said, Roland, they're looking at the case of Alonso's knee. They don't understand what's going on, and sometimes it's just bad luck. It's bad luck like that. Sometimes players are diagnosed with certain things and you don't know how to deal with them. But now is an opportunity for them to kind of examine this situation and find a way. I think now it gives Alonso less pressure in wanting to come back, so he can focus on recovery. And it's a weird situation. We don't know how severe it is. It clearly is severe, but we don't know how high it is to the point where people are saying, is he gonna kind of pack it up, or how long is it until he's fully healthy? Because there were situations where he couldn't walk up the stairs, stuff like that. He was feeling immense pain, and you never want to hear that from a player, especially when it's not even a situation where it's a major injury. It just kind of happened out of the blue, and those are the scariest of situations, because then you're like, well, at least if a guy does in his ACL or something like that, or Achilles, we know what the solution is to it. But for this, what is the solution? Do you just wait for him to recover and maybe one day miraculously he's feeling pain free and he can start playing basketball slowly again, or will it never be the same again for Lonzo? So putting out prayers to him and in this tough time, because that can really affect you mentally as a player. And I know he gets a lot of criticism, but a similar situation really happened to Ben Simmons with his back, and he hasn't really looked the same on the court this season either. Even though
Don't
we
do
haven't
that.
seen Alonso
Don't do
back on
that.
the court, but
Don't do
you have to say that the criticism is warranted, but you have to
Ben
say that
Simmons
because
stink.
his situation was weird as well, where it was like we don't know what's really wrong with. He's saying this is back, but some people believe in him, some people not, and
It was
then he's
it was his time of the month.
no, but
Yeah.
Damn, damn, Ben
Yeah.
Simmons stink.
um,
Man head coach say, I don't know what I don't know what I'm gonna do with him.
That's crazy though. Imagine your head coach saying, "I don't know what I'm gonna do with you, bro." It's mad. It's mad. Yeah, I
Bro,
think
listen.
this situation is mad. Yeah, with Lonzo, because we was expecting this season of all seasons for him to now finally step out and be a star on a team. After all the fanfare of him coming in the league and all of that stuff surrounding the big baller brand, his dad, this, that, and the other, like we was expecting him obviously making that move from the Pelicans over to the Bulls. It was like, okay, last season we saw glimpses, but then like this season it was like, okay, this is it now. Like this is the season where we're looking at you to really showcase what the talent that everyone expected you to have when you came into this league, and it's just not worked out. That's why I feel sorry for him. I feel a bit sad for him, and if they're shutting him down for the rest of the season, that's worrying, because there's no chance of recovery, to potentially come back into the team and then help them their playoff push. it means, hey, we're shutting you down for the season and we don't know what's happening beyond that. If you've gone around all across the country and no doctors have ever seen this before, that's worrying. May need to go get somebody from overseas to maybe have a look at it. That's what I would do if I was the owner of the organization. You're paying this guy a lot of money. You got to give him the best type of care as possible. And so I would pay for an overseas doctor to come and look at that and try and assess it, because a different opinion might be able to know what's going on.
Yeah. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news coming in from the football scene. Frankie de Jong forfeited 2 years' salary, settled for a pay cut to try and avoid Europa League, with United only to be knocked out of the Europa League by United.
Man, life comes at you fast, bro. I can't lie, man.
I tell you.
Because they was in the Champions League, then got knocked out, and then we was looking at him like, yo,
Hey,
we're here.
that man didn't win one game in their group, bro.
We was like, we're here, innit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Then imagine facing them and then getting knocked out by them. It's even crazier. By your ex-manager, the guy that basically put you up on a platform, is crazy.
Bro, his ex-manager set Fred on him, bro. You saw Ten Hag said in the... Well, we'll talk about that later. It was all right.
All right, let's move on. Nate McMillan was fired as the Hawks coach last night or the night before? I don't know which one it was. Last night.
Yeah.
And you know, they've been very quick on the buttons in the organization to try and get the replacement, in talks with former Utah Jazz coach Quinn Snyder in terms of replacing him. Some interesting comments from John Collins. I'm gonna play them now. Just give me 1 second.
I mean, I feel like everybody is gonna be, on board with.
Don't get the thing copyrighted, bro.
Decisions or anything, right? But I'm saying more so in terms of what Nate was asking from us as a group and where we are mentally, professionally, in terms of years and experience. Just sort of trying to create a divide of the expectation versus where we are and where we have developed to as players, as young players. So, as I said, I feel like Nate is a little bit more suited for just guys who are older, you know what I mean, and understand the game. Whereas the young team, we need guidance, and I feel like we need a different kind of guidance. And hopefully somebody can, our new coach can come in and bring that spark. But obviously we still respect and appreciate everything that Nate has done for us.
But that connection was there
too. Some interesting comments there from John Collins. Now, this is a team that only 2 years ago made an Eastern Conference Finals with Nate McMillan in charge. And obviously this season starting off, big expectations. DeJounte Murray comes in, they give away free first round picks for him. And we're looking at that backcourt as some people were saying one of the best in the league when you pair him and Trae Young together. It's not quite worked out that way.
I told you it wasn't going to.
I mean, yeah, you did say pretty early on in the season when we reviewed it. But yeah, it hasn't really worked out that way. Trae Young's kind of having a bit of an off season. DeJounte Murray's playing okay, it's not great. John Collins himself there speaking was looking to get out of the organization, trying to cook up something for a trade. Never happened. He stayed at after the deadline. And then obviously there's been some issues between Nate McMillan and Trae Young earlier on this season where they clashed. He was left out of a couple of games by the coach as well. And it looks like it's become an untenable situation for him there. And also when you consider where the Hawks are in the standings right now, where are they in the East? They are eighth, yeah, 29 and 30 through the season so far. So what do you guys think of this situation? Because it's kind of like it's not out of left field, but you could say yes, because they're not having a great season so far, and it's pretty interesting. Like, what do you guys think?
I think for the Hawks, it had been coming. It is a situation where, there have been reports of kind of friction between the coach and certain players in the past. And you do see that sometimes where, maybe things aren't going too well, and then all of a sudden the players kind of don't see eye to eye with the coach. And that started to happen when you have a guy in John Collins, for example, that's been rumored to leave year in, year out before the deadline, and then he almost left the Hawks, and then they opted to make a trade, I believe, for Sadiq Bey to bring him in from Detroit instead. So they didn't get rid of John Collins in the end. But
wait, hold on, sorry. Did that trade actually go through, the Sadiq Bey one? Because I swear that something happened. Like there was an injury to somebody or something. Wait, so Sadiq Bey was supposed to go to the Warriors, and then something happened to the trade. I don't think it got completed.
Let me see. I'm not too sure, but he's definitely he's in ATL now, so I think it must have went through. It definitely went through. Yeah. So but certain little things like that, and then you bring in DeJounte, as you mentioned, Trae Young not having the greatest year shooting wise, and this is you have to be careful with young teams. And this is where I kind of sympathize with where John Collins is kind of going to, because yes, you do need it. And you mentioned Quinn Snyder. He's kind of showcased the ability to galvanize and improve young players with a good mix of veteran players as well. But with the Hawks, I think another thing with them, they just need to find the right mentality, because they had a really good season when they reached the conference finals. They had a good playoff run, and they didn't kick on from there for whatever reason. They weren't able to develop from that moment. And I think part of that, of course, you can blame on the coaches and the coaching staff, but you also have to look at the players, some of the leaders in that team, and say, where have we gone wrong? And I think that is the biggest question all of those players on the roster have to ask themselves. Where have we gone wrong as players? Because another coach can come in and the same thing could happen all over again. So I think for them, of course, young players in the league, they're developing, they've had success. They need to look back to that moment and realize where they came from, because I think in terms of playing hard on both ends of the floor, they've taken a step back drastically. And that's why they're in the position they are. I mean, they still have an opportunity to get into the playoffs. No doubt about it. They can turn around their season after the All-Star break. But if they think a coach alone will change their fortunes, that's not going to be the case. And the expectations after that playoff run were sky high for them. The expectations after bringing in a guy in DeJounte Murray, who has shown steady development in that Spurs system for many years and perhaps wanted to be unleashed as a player. Expectations sky high, and they just haven't lived up to those expectations.
Chino, what do you make of all of this, man?
What make of all of what? The Hawks?
Yeah, the Hawks, man. Nate McMillan out of the door. Maybe Quinn Snyder coming in. What do you think?
None of my business.
Yeah.
Bro, we're still better than them. They're in our division. Like, that's our beacon stick, bro. I don't care. No, you talking about Quinn Snyder. That man talking about Ime Udoka, bro.
No.
Like, what are they trying to do? Like,
Ime Udoka in ATL is a problem.
Bro, like a guy, like they not see the woman.
Hey, it's done gone bad already, fam. Just let him go.
But no, listen.
No. He can't go to ATL, bro. He'll just finish, bro. He'll be finished there, bro.
I heard a little piece of the clip, John Collins. I think man's trying to say, Nate's trying to have us play defense, but some people on the team don't want to play defense. We know who that is. But yeah, but listen, they gave up 3 picks, and you saying John Collins trying to get his way out, Roland. No, it's the other way around, bro. That man been trying to force Collins out for 3 years, bro, and can't get him out. They're asking for too much. So
yeah, I heard something crazy. Like, it was like, what is it, 5-second rounds, or is like he was on that standard or something crazy like that.
But yeah, I mean, Snyder's a good coach. We all see what he did with Rudy and Mitchell, but those are elite talents in it. Well, Mitchell is. Rudy's a bum. Yeah, so I don't know. Atlanta would always be a little baby brother in the Southwest Division, so I ain't too worried. About them. But if they don't want Trae Young, I'll take him over Kyle Lowry.
The shamelessness is coming out. I mean, I mean, look, it's one of those, yeah, where I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, the way John Collins spoke, yeah, it was like I feel like Trey Young took one for the whole squad and went and tried to confront Nate McMillan about the way they were playing. Because I've watched some Hawks games actually this year. Like I've checked them out. They've got some good young players. Like the rookie AJ Griffin. He looks like a talent. Like he's gonna be interesting to see how year two works out for him. On Kogru at center, he's pretty good as well. I like him as well. It, the shared responsibility between DeJounte Murray and Trey Young is very interesting. I feel like they got it together, but yes, their style of basketball is quite defensive. I can't lie, because when I watched the last game where I really like locked in and watched them was against the Sixers, and they won the game, but it was a very, very slow burn to get to the point where they really cooked. It probably took about mid third quarter for them to really click and cook and start like getting onto the attack, because they were the Sixers were there for the taking that day. And yeah, you could see why somebody would be frustrated being in that position, like Trey Young, wanting to see that team to kind of go for teams a little bit more because they've got the talent in there. And maybe he took one for the team, and that's where a lot of it started to deteriorate in terms of the relationship. And then it was just kind of like the organization is saying, "Hey, we got our players. The coach is not really agreeing with them, so we kind of have to get rid of him." Quinn Snyder would be a good replacement to come in there with, you know, the way he's been able to manage teams with this similar type of like profile and makeup. And to be honest with you, the Hawks team is pretty young, like average age of like 25.1 years. So it's not like they got vets in there, but you know, they've got a lot of good young players too. So it's going to be a pretty interesting thing. Now, before we wrap this up, yeah, there's going to be something interesting I want to do, yeah. But let me get into these comments because Wow Factor's coming here. Big up, man, like Wow Factor. Says big up, rolling. What's up, guys? NBA is back. KD playing next week. Yeah, he's back next week. I think Sunday or Wednesday. They said he's going to be coming back versus the Hornets. Come and stop us now, Dallas. You're getting your tickets in March. Also, what is Ja Morant going to do when we cook their ass? Great pickup for the Heat. K Love, Matt Ishbar. Ishbia is working behind the scenes with GM, best owner. Might even go in for Will Barton. Yeah, he's a free agent, or someone else. There's plenty of players available. There's a lot of players available, to be honest with you, that are out there that could potentially do something for a team in the league. Rolling rumors on Celtics Sportnet TV is Jalen may leave in the summer and ask for a trade. He doesn't seem quite settled. The question will be, if it does happen, will Tatum stay? If so, who do you get? Boy, I don't know. Like, it's interesting because like we've been hearing his name in trying to be involved in trade talks with KD and all of this. Maybe he's a bit unsettled. Maybe he wants to go and explore something. It'll be interesting because if he can get the ring, then maybe I think, you know, we might explore that and just, you know, and start again. You never know. Break up the team. But then obviously, it's going to be down to the organization. Will they be like, okay, hey, let's go on a run here. Let's try and win some more championships together with what we've built. Like, you just never know. But before we get out of here, yeah, with the season, you know, in its second half here, I want to get you man's predictions in it. In terms of 1 through 8, yeah. So who's gonna make it into the playoffs? Yeah. I want your 1 through 8. And CM, will start with you.
All right. So in the East, I think teams that are definitely gonna stay in that run: Boston, the Bucks, Philadelphia. I think the Cavs are definitely in that. So that's 4 teams already. I think Miami will make their way there. I'm not too sure about New York right now. I'm gonna slide Brooklyn in there as well. So I think there's 2 more teams to go in that. That's tough, man. That's tough. You know what? I'm gonna say for the remaining 2 teams, I'm gonna say Toronto, which might be mad to some people, but I feel like they could, and Indiana.
Ooh.
Western Conference now.
Mm.
I think so. Denver, the Clippers, Phoenix for sure. Dallas, that's 4 teams. I think Sacramento, they're gonna break that playoff drought finally. Sheesh, tough, man. I think Golden State, and I think that's 2 more teams now as well, right? So I think if it depends, man, because I want to say the Pelicans, but I don't know if they'll be able to stay fit in the remainder of the season. I definitely think Golden State will make it back because they haven't had a good season up to this point, but I think they can turn it around. And then the final teams, I'm gonna say LA make it. The Lakers, they make it back.
That's I can't lie. That's a big one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go for my team OKC, man.
Ooh, yeah. This is good. Because what we're gonna do is at the end of the regular, and then the play-in, we'll come back to it and be like, all right, cool. This is where we are, innit? Yeah, we'll see. Chino, I need your East and West 1 through 8. Chino. Chino's on mute, bruv. He's doing something right now. All right, let me do my East and West 1 through 8. So I'm just writing down everything just to make sure that we are ready and set. All right, so obviously Boston is my 1. The Bucks are my 2 in the East. My 3 will be the Sixers. Sixers will be my 3. My 4 will be the Cavs. My 5 will be, I want to say the Knicks will be my 5. I think they'll be able to hold off the Nets, who will come in 6th. Then in terms of my 7, I'm going Miami. And then my 8, I'm gonna say the Pacers. I feel like they're gonna come through. Young team, but they've got some fight about them, and they'll just about make it through in the play-in. So that's that. On the West, so my 1 is gonna be Denver. I think they're gonna just come through and kill that. Then my 2 is gonna be the Grizz. My 3 is gonna be the Clippers. My 4 is gonna be the Suns. My 5 will be Dallas. My 6 will be, I want to say the Timberwolves. I think they'll come through 6th. They're really on a bit of a I mean they've stormed their way back up into the position. So I'm gonna give them 6th.
That's a good shout, you know.
Because they really stormed up, man. Like from the beginning, it's tough, man. I think the Kings will drop. They've been doing really well this season, but I think they'll drop off, and they'll end up somehow just outside the playoffs. And then in terms of the top 6, and then they'll go through it. They'll come through in the play-in. So I'll go Kings in my 7th, and then Golden State are gonna sneak in. I think they're gonna sneak in, because they've just had a bit of a off-kilter season, and I think that's my 8 for it. So we're gonna see how they are. Chino, are you there? Nah, he's not there, bro.
Chino,
Chino, you're actually flopping us right now. Nah, hey, Chino, bro. If you don't come in the next 2 minutes, bro, I'm just gonna put your teams in, yeah, and you're gonna have to live and die by those decisions, bro. I can't lie.
Big up to Wow Factor. He's put in some predictions for the Western Conference. And
he said Dallas. He said Denver, the Suns, Grizzlies, Clippers, Dallas, Kings, OKC, Pelicans. That's big, bro. That's big because that's both Golden State and the Lakers not part of this at all. And then for the East, Wild Factor saying Boston, the Sixers, the Bucks, Nets, Cavs, Knicks, Hawks, Pacers. That's pretty interesting as well. Suns will finish second. KD playing against and playing and Terrence Ross. Terrence Ross, he moved there as well. To be honest, he moved from Orlando. Should be very interesting. But Chino, where you at, bro?
Chino's gonna have to. Chino's gonna have to get the random generated answers.
That's it, fam. I'm gonna have to do that for him because bro, he's flopping the thing right now. All right, cool. We'll be back with Chino's one, yeah. We're gonna talk about it offline, yeah, and then I'm gonna put together a bit of a graphic, yeah, and then at the end of the season we'll be like, all right, this is what we said, and this is what it is now, and we'll see who got the closest to it and all of that. But if anybody else in the chat wants to get involved in this, let us know in it so that we can do this. You know what I'm saying, and see where we end up in terms of the predictions for the rest of the regular season before we head into the playoffs. But look, we're gonna wrap up the show right here. Look, it's been a good show. Thank you to everybody that's been watching. I know that a lot of people have been watching the football, so you've been doing your thing, watching the other channels and whatnot, but appreciate the support anyway. We'll be back next week. Obviously, NBA is back tonight, so make sure you stay tuned for the big show. The big free show next week, Thursday, 10 p.m. It will be a little bit earlier because obviously we had to move things around to give people a preview after the football and all of that. I want to say thank you to my guy CM. Let people know where they can find you, my bro.
Hey, big up Roland, Chino, everyone in the comments for support, and you can find me at CM22ENT on YouTube, Twitch, all socials. Well, not all socials, but Twitter and a few others.
Come on. But yeah, man, big up to Chino as well, man. Like, I don't know where the hell he's at right now, bro. I don't know if he's eating, if he's on the toilet. I don't know, bro. He's just out of here, bro. I don't know what's happened, but we'll be back with him soon as well. Are we doing a live stream of any NBA games? I don't know. I don't know when CM's doing his next chillathon, but there's a lot of games, man. I don't know. I'm just gonna try and pick one soon and then try and do it. Might be maybe CKD.
Is the show over?
Nah, bro.
What happened? What I miss?
I need you to do this for me, yeah, bro.
Do it.
Right. I need you to give me your 1 through 8. This is a prediction, isn't it? 1 through 8 for the East and the West, bro.
Oh man, I can't see. I don't know. Let me put up my ESPN.
Let me know, because at the end of the season, yeah, we're gonna do a comparison of what you said and then what it actually is, isn't it?
Okay. I'll start East first. I would say. Oh, I don't know, man. It's so crazy between Boston and Milwaukee. I'll say Boston. I think Boston's a state. Say Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, Cleveland, Miami in 5th, New York in 6th, Brooklyn down to 7th, and then Washington 8th.
It's a big one still. Washington, all right, cool. And then your West, yeah. What's your West saying?
Denver, Memphis, Clippers. Wait, whoa. Denver, Memphis. Phoenix in 3rd, Clippers in 4th.
Okay, yeah.
Sacramento in 5th. Oh, Dallas. No, Dallas in 5th, Sack in 6th. Warriors. Oh God, Warriors 7th and Pelicans 8th.
Ooh. Pelicans in 8th. Cool. Wait. Right, that's all the predictions. I'm gonna put together the graphic, and then we'll recap it next week, so people who didn't see this will be able to see this. And then at the end of the regular season, we'll see where everybody ends up after the play-ins as well, so we know who comes in 7th and 8th and all of that. But we'll be back very, very soon, people. So make sure you stay tuned for all of the shows that we got going on. Make sure you're hitting that like button, that subscribe button as well. If you're new, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff right there. And we are out. Peace.
Peace.